So, friends, I am trying to do some justice to these philosophical essays. As I always say, that essay should be written in a structure, and this structure should have the first part around 150 words, that is introduction. Second is elaboration, and in this elaboration write everything which is relevant and which you know about the topic, about the subject. The third is, I say, analysis. This analysis means write the real causes, the causes behind something, or you can say that the companies in their annual meetings always release the statements. They point out one thing, the areas which are risk areas. In the same manner, in analysis, I suggest, my polite view is that you analyze. The fourth thing is conclusion. Now, introduction is the most important part. In my opinion, conclusion is the second important part. In this conclusion, there are three parts. First is you summarize the whole essay. The second part, you simply give suggestions. And the third thing, you see the future. You will simply say suggestions and future are different, and how they are different. No, they are different in the sense that your suggestions are there, but what exactly you expect things to be in the future. And in this third part, you write that in an effective manner, in a manner which is very somewhat concrete and somewhat. You cannot become Bernard Shaw in a period of 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Your literary capacity need not improve, but you write the suggestions and you write whatever is your effective method and the essay with those effective words. Your writing is bad, don't be very concerned, no matter whatever your writing style. Your grammar is not that good, don't be very just sad that you are not very, or you cannot write idiomatic English. Whatever you can write and whatever you practice, that is the most important thing. So, with this, we come to the discussion of the first essay. The first essay is the process of self-discovery has now been technologically outsourced. The first thing, you try to understand the meaning. What's the basic theme of this essay? The basic theme is that technology is good, but over technology is not good. So the basic theme is that technology must be for human beings. Human beings should not be for technology. This is the basic thing. Now, what has been the case today? It is said, many of the people You remember Rousseau, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, what he said, man is born free, but it is society, it is culture, it is economy, it is polity which have made him a slave. He is no longer free. After him, there are many people who said, oh, technology has ruined us. We have simply become mechanical cogs in this broad machine of the society or the modern political system. Probably the most important man was Yuval Noah Harari. He is an Israeli philosopher. He wrote a book, many books he has written, but one book is very important. He said the lessons of 21st century. The book is Lessons of 21st Century. This Lessons of 21st Century, he has written many things, but one thing is important. He said, in the next 10 years probably, man would know less about themselves and the corporates would know about man. What they are thinking is, what kind of leisure they are going to take. These all things are or would be in the hands of those who are powerful enough, who are moneyed people, who are the corporates. They will, the owners of the corporates, the promoters of the corporates, they will know it. That means they will design man. As far as technology is concerned, what is technology? Technology is the method how man produces their subsistence, how man produces the services, how man produces their own things. Technology is very important. Marx said, human beings are different from other primates because of only one thing, that human beings can create. Human beings have technology with them, not language. All other animals, some of the developed primates, for example, chimpanzee, gorilla, they have also some elementary language. Some people say man have intelligence, others do not have. No. Now it has been established that some of the animals have also intelligence. The level is low. The only thing is that the level is low. But this technology, as far as this technology is concerned, in the last 300 years, technology has advanced so much that it could not develop that much in the last 3,000 years. From this Neolithic culture to this a bronze culture, it took almost 1,000 years. In the last 30 years, man has developed technology so much that now the mother-in-law in India, in Kottayam, and the daughter-in-law in California can discuss, oh mama, what you are going to cook today. Only 10 years or 15 years ago, it was worth 500 rupees to call a man in America. Today, on Google Talk, on other mediums, one can talk free with anybody in the world. So technology has advanced enormously, and this technology is for human beings. This technology is for human beings, not the human beings are for technology. Now, is this a revolution? This tremendous qualitative development in technology, is it a revolution? No, because revolution means a radical redistribution of assets, of power, of other resources. Here the reverse is occurring. Resources are being centralized into some hands, fewer hands. Political power is being controlled by some people. This is the age of those people who are populist leaders, but at the same time very powerful leaders. So it is not a revolution. Then what kind of a thing has happened? Things have changed, qualitatively changed. You can order your meals, the cinema ticket, the air ticket, the rail ticket from your own home by that smartphone, the small computer in your hands. No doubt, technology has taken strides. But as far as this world is concerned, because of this new change, there are businessmen who take their breakfast in Delhi, their lunch in Jakarta, and probably they eat the evening meal in Bangkok and again return to their homes by late night or by 10 o'clock or by 11 o'clock. In 1970s, there was a concept by the Canadian scholar of the global village. Today the world has really become a global village because of the development of technology. Now, as far as this technology is concerned, while we analyze, we simply say that technology has corroded what? This has corroded. Why it is said in this essay that our self-perception have been outsourced. There is a boy who wants to become the dancer. There is a girl who wants to become a boxer. It's her choice, it is his choice, but no. The society says you have to become a management graduate, you have to become an engineer, you have to become a doctor. There are some fathers, there are some mothers who say, I have been thinking of becoming a doctor throughout my life. Oh, but the bad conditions. Now I have a dream that my son should become a doctor, my daughter should become. Who has given you the right, oh parent? Who has given you the right to dictate your dreams to your sons and to your daughter? Let them be free. Technology is determining what should be the leisure. You should go there in Agra, you should go Shillong and you should stay that hotel. No, I will not stay in that hotel. I just stay in the station beneath that pump house. This kind of freedom, this kind of liberty, this kind of opportunity is not there in human beings. So naturally we say, some people say that, yes, even earlier that kind of dictation was there. This kind of imposition of the will was there. Religion was very powerful and religion dictated you should become this, you should do this. But there in the previous years, in the previous age, the rebels were there. The rebels were there. After all, these rebels, the Veerasaiva movement in Karnataka gave birth to a sect because he said, no, I will not accept your dictates. I will not follow the rules of the religion. Martin Luther in Germany, he said, no, I am not going to accept the dictates of the church. I'll have my own ways. The rebel was there and the rebel was given that permission. But what is the condition today? We are not finding rebels in large numbers. Simply people say, oh, he is a mad person. He is out of his ways. So that is any unique person. Either you call him a Mahatma. So I am an ordinary mortal. How can be a Mahatma? Mahatma Gandhi was Mahatma. No, actually this is something which is the negative aspect. The basic thing is that technology is a very good thing. How you conclude? You write, technology is a very important thing. But it should not be as important as Charlie Chaplin in 1936 in his movie Modern Man said that because of technology you have become almost dependent on technology, almost dependent on these things. People say all these years, all these centuries, human beings have tried to be free, human beings have tried to be creative, human beings have tried to be genuine. What is the outcome? The outcome is different. A male wants cigarette before he can go to the big room or for washing. Women also want their cold cream. We are not doing cold. You are just an idiot. The advertisement says, the TV says that kind of thing. That almost programmed lifestyle is a negative aspect of technology. So naturally you sum or just you conclude, technology is a wonderful thing. Technology has given us all the benefits. You can just talk to anybody in the world free. You can have your meetings. The company board can have its meetings virtually. So it has given us the permission to just enjoy anything, a match in Stockholm and you are seeing from your bedroom. So this is good. But as far as the negative aspect is that technology has programmed our life, designed our lifestyle, that should not be there. Sufficient opportunity for liberty, sufficient opportunity for creativity. Now you take the instance of Steve Jobs, that man who created the personal TV. What he did? He was dissatisfied after making this personal TV. He came over to Delhi, lived in this Pahalganj for 6 months. Then he went to Rishikesh, became a Buddhist and returned to America. Now this kind of freedom is not given to many people. When somebody from Chennai would have come to Pahalganj and just said that, oh, I want to do some new work, an innovative work, people would have said, oh, he has become mad, that's why he has gone to Delhi. No, this is the thing which this essay says you should not do. So I conclude, it is daring, it is courageous to ride the tiger. The only thing is that the tiger should not devour the rider, should not eat the rider, should not kill the rider. Technology should not kill human beings. So it should not kill, it should not finish the creativity of man. That is what is the need of the hour. So it is clear. So naturally, those who are genius, they can write in any way. But people are just individuals like me or individuals like you who are ordinary mortals, they cannot become Barbara Jones, or they cannot become other exceptional writers for essay. But philosophical essays are not bad. The only thing is that you take 5 minutes to just find out the basic theme of the essay.
I am an engineer, sir.
No. Time is there. You should take at least 15 minutes to decide the topics.
No, sir. I have a doubt, sir, not an essay. I am an engineer, sir.
Ah.
Over technology will kill the human life as well as the survival of this sir.
That is what I am saying.
Because only 50 to 50% only will give the good efficiency in human life, sir.
No, actually that is something else. That is a technology operation is different from benefit of technology. Now a tribal in Chotnagpur or Jharkhand, even he has the mobile in his hand. Who has given it this? The technology has given it this. So mobile is good, but to see pornography on the mobile is not good. That is what we are saying. So as far as this second essay is concerned, your perception of me is a reflection of you. My reaction to you is an awareness of me. What is the basic theme of this essay? The basic theme of this essay is social interaction. Social interaction. What is social interaction? Social interaction means one person communicates with other persons and the other person is influenced by this communication. The same manner the other person or the other parties are communicating with this person and they are or he is or she is influencing this person. Naturally, in this essay, the question is almost an issue. There are two sides. One side says, what is the statement of the essay? That whenever we are trying to discuss someone or we are interacting with someone, so in this interaction, whatever is his perception, the other person's perception of us or of me is really his own perception, his own, whatever his idea, whatever his perception of me, actually this perception is his idea or his own self. He is describing, by describing me, his own identity. That is what the theme of this essay is. Now, so many people say, you introduce that in these perceptions or in these interactions, what happens that if somebody is describing someone else, reacting to someone else, or just identifying the other person, he is basically identifying himself or herself. The other person, when he is reacting to him, is trying to just be his own self and not the other person. This is a view in psychology. This is a view in psychology. Carl Jung said that this happened. Carl Jung, he was also an Austrian psychologist, a rival of Sigmund Freud. So this Carl Jung said this, but Freud or Sigmund Freud was much more influential, much more important than Carl Jung, and he is the father. Some people say that there are many contributors, the many unique contributors in this 19th and 20th century, as Darwin was, as Marx was, so is this Sigmund Freud. the father of psychoanalysis, the father of psychotherapy, the father of this sex orientation in human life. He is somewhat different, not very different, but somewhat different from this Jung analysis. Now, what is the Jung analysis? Jung says the statement, what is the statement in the essay topic? The topic says that our perception of you or my perception of you is basically my own identity. I am not just giving your identity, and the same is vice versa. The other person, when he is trying to describe me, he is actually describing himself. This is some truth in this, no doubt. By now, it has been established that there is some truth in this statement. What happens now in the corporate world, when the corporate or the board members wanting to or just recruiting some person, they ask this respondent or the man or the girl sitting before them, they simply describe that person, simply describe this theorist, simply describe this political leader. Now, in the course of her description, on the course of his description, they or the boy or the girl basically is describing himself. In the course of his description of the other person, actually he or she is describing himself. So the board member, by asking that person or the man who has come from the interview to describe others, they want to know what is his views. Simply by saying, describe Alia Bhatt, a girl is describing herself. Oh, she is very good, but she should do this. She is very bad in this, but the better would be that. So she acted in this good film, but she acted in that bad film. She acted very badly in that. Naturally, by this, she is describing about herself itself. This is. Now, the counter view is that most of the international negotiations, in business negotiations, one company is being taken over by the other company. A deep and very serious interaction takes place between the two company boards. For example, Tatas have again taken over the Air India. Now, as far as this taken over or this taking over is concerned, this must have taken almost years of negotiations with the government officials and the Tata officials. In that negotiation, the Tata man would have wanted more benefits to them, and the government of India officials must have tried to have more money, as much assets for this purchase of the Tatas or for the sale of the Tatas. So naturally, the argument here is one side of Sigmund Freud, that no, one tries to evaluate the other, what kind of a person that negotiator is, and in that or try to operate his interaction by overcoming him. So naturally, what happens here? That managers are in good demand, and sometimes this Reliance wants to recruit some manager. There is behind the scene interactions or behind the scenes negotiations. Now what happens? In this, we have in the essay given an example of conversation between two groups of college students. One says that your interaction with other is really your identity. So the argument of the essay is there. But the other party says, no, this is not the case. International negotiations, company negotiations. For example, now there is a negotiation in between the Western Bloc and the Russians. What should be the course in Ukraine? No. Now, in this interaction, is the Russians are adopting the posture of the Americans? No. This is not the case. They are trying to prevent the Westerners at any cost that Ukraine should not become a member of the NATO. The clear-cut interaction, their interest is there. Clear-cut interest is there. And the other party, the Westerners, wherever Geneva or something else, they can meet each other. But the other party is also wanting, oh, you should give independence to Ukraine to decide their own destiny. Who are you to dictate? So naturally, but then the first group again comes to that argument. There was a man, Henry Rorschach. So, Herman Rorschach. Probably, if I am correct, this is the correct spelling. He developed a test which is called as Rorschach test to evaluate persons. In this Rorschach test, there are ink blots like this. And students or persons are asked to identify what is this, Now, the objects are the same for all persons. 12 these ink blots are there, and people are asked, individuals are asked, what is this? Simply describe. The object is same, but different persons are interpreting those objects, those ink blots in their own ways. This is the case. What is this? The conclusion is, what is the conclusion? The conclusion is that the same objects are being described in different ways by different persons. By this description, the persons are describing themselves, because for everybody, the same object, the same ink blot is there. By this perception, they are perceiving themselves. The same object is being evaluated in different ways. So this is proving the statement here that our perception of others is in fact my own perception, and the other's reaction of me is his own perception, his own identity is perceived. So naturally, this Rorschach test proves. Here.
We take as an example, sir. Internet is a common for everyone, but using is in different.
No, that is something else. Internet is a medium.
Sir, but is the block is same?
No, block is not the medium. Block is the object. Remember, internet is a medium. Media is a medium. By this media, you can pass anything. So this is not a case of perception. For example, somebody can or any organization can put some figures. In the company recruitments, there are group meetings. So the same object, the same subject is being perceived by different ways. So here, the ink blots are not a medium. The ink blots are an object. The ink blots are an object. For example, Lata Mangeshkar ji is in ICU. The different persons are reacting to this news in different ways. They are not evaluating Lata Mangeshkar, they are evaluating their own selves. Somebody is very fond of music. Ah, God, save her, she is the Koel of India, Kakku of India. Ah, other persons, she is a singer, but everybody has to die. She is under 19, what she now wants more. This is, he is or she is just telling about herself by describing the condition of Lata Mangeshkar. This is the case here. Now, there was another man, a very famous psychologist and a philosopher and a sociologist also. His name is Erving Goffman. Now you analyze, when you are analyzing, so you are trying to present the views of Erving Goffman. Now Erving Goffman wrote a book presenting your self. His theory is called as dramatology. What he says, every person in the process of interaction is really wearing a mask. He is not disclosing his own self. He has or she has her own interests. And the other person or the other persons, they are also wearing a mask. Underneath, they are the scoundrelest of the scoundrels. They are the wickedest of the women in the world, presenting nobody is good than me, nobody is better than me. This is the mask. Rationalizing is a very, very common thing. Whenever somebody asks, what do you think of this? You try to be rationalizing. You be rationalize. What could be the good answer in this? You give the good answer, not the real answer. What you should have given. Now, there are techniques wherein the test or the presentation or these opinion makers or opinion evaluators, they know the technique how to get the real thing of yours. But as far as Erving Goffman is concerned, he is taking a middle position. This is the middle position. He says everybody is wearing a mask, doing an act of a film, doing an act of a drama, and he or she is trying to act before the others. Trying to act before the others. And in this way, the interest, both parties want to maximize their interest by acting in their own ways, by trying to just dramatize in their own ways, wearing the mask of goodness, wearing the mask of smartness. They are trying to take out as much as benefits in the interaction process. So naturally, here you have to summarize that yes, it is true, in the interaction process, when somebody is describing or interacting with other, he is actually, or perceiving other, she is actually perceiving herself or himself. And the same is when the other party is reacting to that person, he is also presenting or he is also just giving his own perception. This is one view. The other view is that no, in interaction process, anybody is trying to evaluate other, anybody is trying to just perceive what is his condition, what is his strength, what are the others' strength, and what is my strength. And they try to oversmart the other person. So this is the counter view, the no. Everybody is his own self, his own unique thing. He is not describing the other. The middle point is this, erring of men. The middle point is this means that they try to play acting, but by this acting, by this rationalizing their own conditions, they are trying to also maximize their own gains, maximize their benefits. So it is a fact that both the parties in interaction have two dimensions. They describe, they have their perceptions, but at the same time they want to maximize their gains in the interaction process. So in this world, all interactions are no doubt individual interactions, but as this Freud said, as this George Herbert Mead said, that always there is some kind of a context, there is some kind of a reference, and there is some kind of gaining from the other side, seeking some benefits from the other side. That means not only presenting herself. For example, in the interview, as I said, in the IAS interview, a person has interest in quarreling. If they do not abuse, or if he or she does not abuse anybody from the morning to the night, she is not satisfied. Oh, I have not quarreled with anybody today. So I am not digesting my meal today. But in the interview board, she acts that she has the best possible answers to the queries, to the questions. So she would never disclose, or he would never disclose, that he is a bully or she is a bully. So this is what is that in the interaction process, which is the psychological process, in that process one has to be, or one just expresses themselves, but at the same time they also want to maximize their benefits. So one party is trying to get the maximum and the other party is also trying to get the maximum. So not the case that one is describing the other and so he is describing herself. This is the thing. Now,
Sir, as a civil servant, mission should be, we need to maintain the middle part of you, sir.
no.
We will not express ourselves, we will not criticize others.
No. Actually, it is not under your control very often. There are certain things which are inadvertent. A man or a girl just cutting just nails, this is a habit. This can change. But those things, those things, for example, which are inadvertent, you do not want, but they happen. You do not want, but that happens. So in this interaction process also, the same is there. You can control your emotions, you can control your gestures, you can control your postures, but somehow or other the real appears, the real thing appears, the real thing happens. That is the thing. That is the thing. Now the third essay, this is Philosophy of Wantlessness. Is utopia and this materialism is a chimera. What is the basic theme of this essay? What is the basic theme of this essay? The basic theme is your life view. Your life view. There are two views world view and life view. Your life view should be neither too much of wantlessness or too much of materialism, too much of luxuries. Now, wantlessness means there have been many saints, there have been many sadhus, there have been many fakirs, there have been many mahatmas who do not want to possess anything, who sacrifice all their luxuries, who sacrifice all their benefits, all their advantages, and live a life of ascetics, live a life of almost denial, no possessions, no luxuries, no comforts. The topic says this is utopian. This is not impossible, but difficult to achieve. Not impossible, but difficult to achieve. If it was impossible, how there can be so many saints? Somebody just went up to the tree and he was staying there for years together. There are such saints who are standing on their own, only one leg for years. Khada Baba. Naturally. So they are exceptional persons. They have denied, they have sacrificed every benefit, they have sacrificed everything in their life. Now, this is utopian. Now, as far as the other persons are concerned, you introduce by saying both the things, introduce that selflessness, possessionlessness, the denial of life is very difficult to achieve, very difficult to attain. On the other hand, the life of luxury, the life of all the comforts, the life of all the benefits is not a life which is desired. This is a chimera. This is something which is because the more you consume, the more you enjoy, the more you want. The more you want. So naturally, that is an unending, insatiable urge to gain more and more, enjoy more and more. So this is a chimera. This is something, a worthlessness. This is something unending process. As far as this wantlessness is concerned, Jainism is a religion where there is no concept of God. No concept of God is there. Jainism says that whatever we see, that is the only reality. They are the empiricist people. They are the empirical people. They say no. Now what happens? The 23rd Tirthankar, Parshvanath says 4 precepts. First is aparigrah, no possession. Aparigrah, no possession. No possession. Number 2 is this asteya, no stealing. The 3rd is satya, only truth. The 4th is non-violence. This is the, so here, this is the no possessions, no, this wantlessness is this aparigrah. This 24th, Mahavir added one celibacy or brahmacharya. Celibacy or brahmacharya. So that also is wantlessness. That is also wantlessness. Now, many people say that this kind of a life is not possible. So what happens? That the ordinary laddie or the common man gives this duty of aparigraha to the special saints, special munis, and for their own self they lead the ordinary life. That means they enjoy sex, they have traders, they have possessions. As far as Jainism is concerned, one particular important person said the Jains are the best traders but not the industrialists, because they emphasize too much on non-violence. Now come to those who are the materialists. Here materialism means luxury loving. Those people who love luxury. There is one Western philosopher, Epicurus, and in India there was Charvak. What Epicurus said? He said, eat, drink and be merry. What Charvak said? Charvak said that even if you have to take loans, enjoy life, drink this infused butter, ghee, enjoy life. Naturally, this is something which is not appropriate. This is something which is not satisfactory. This is something not good. So, what is the dictum of this essay? One should adopt the middle path, the path of Buddha. The path of Buddha. What is said? Buddha said, the life of self-denial, the life of mortification is not a good life, is not a satisfactory life. The life of luxuries. What Buddha said, that people want many things. That is why there is pathos, there is dukkha. They should control this demand of many things, many luxuries, and lead a middle life. The life of good thinking, right positions, right livelihood. This is middle path is the best path, what Buddha said. So, this essay also wants analyze that both the things have happened. Those people who have gone for wantlessness, they are not realistic. Their life of denial, if probably everybody follows this celibacy, how this world, how this progeny would go on, the world would come to an end. So naturally, the natural thing is that one should be always pursuing the middle path. The luxury path is not good. That demand, that debases. So, what is the conclusion? The conclusion is that write the essay, that the summary, then you advise that the best possible thing in life is to have the middle course. Gandhi's words, conclude with Gandhi's words. Mankind has everything for his need, but not everything for his greed. Greed is bad, need is good. So, conclude with the words, you can do anything, but try to conclude with these words that there is this self-denial, self-mortification is not satisfactory, it is not good, and luxury is also not good. That debases human beings, because this is an unending process of the possessions, of the luxuries. There should be a middle path, the path of Gandhi, the path that need can be fulfilled, not the greeds can be fulfilled. So, as far as the fourth is concerned, out of the essays, the modern age, Hegel's statement, the statement was given by Hegel in the preface of the book Philosophy of Right. Hegel gave this statement in the book or the introduction of the book Philosophy of Right. The year was 1821. This is a very typical essay in the sense that real philosophical essay. The real is rational and the rational is real. It seems to be quite simple. How the real is real, the rational is rational. Rational is more concrete, real is more enigmatic. What Hegel says? Hegel says that in the ancient past, the philosophy of Plato or the philosophy of Aristotle, they saw the reality from the apparent phenomenon, the apparent. They saw the apparent and less saw the noumen. And even if they saw it, it was only partial. It was only partial, not total. Not total, it was partial. As far as Hegel says that in the modern age, when mankind has developed, when human beings have developed their intelligence, have their faculties of other things, they are in a better position to evaluate what is real. But first he criticizes Immanuel Kant, another German philosopher. Kant, in his evaluation of reality, is empirical, empiricist. Experience-based knowledge is the real thing. Experience, empiric, is the real thing, what Kant says. Empiric thing or the experience is the real thing. We can experience, we can see ourselves, we can listen to other people's observation, we can listen to other perceptions, what they are saying. Now,
physical condition also.
Actually people are going to the field now, right now in the UP elections, they are going to the field. And in the UP elections, they are just talking to persons. This is empiric. I have talked to the person. Kant was a man or a philosopher who was a champion of categorization. If you want to know things, categorize them. Categorize them. 1, 2, these categories are there. This is the village, this is the urban area, this is the male, this is the female. This kind of a categorization he did. But then that was, according to Hegel, not the correct thing to evaluate real.
So if we want to clarify clearly, we need to have some scientific field experience now.
No, actually this is the Kant view. The field experience is the Kantian view. Hegel says no, this is not the correct thing. For example, you are seeing the apparent thing, what he is saying, you are just listening and you are trying to just evaluate on this. The people in the market, a couple, very well dressed, seems to be very happy, but probably they are not happy in their homes. They do not express the things in the marketplace, but they may be very unhappy. So, what sees, what is observed may not be the real thing. The real thing may be something different. So when somebody reads the question in examination hall first, he is perplexed. Oh, this is very difficult. A philosophical essay, the setter is a mad person. But when you just after 5 minutes, oh, this means this. So this is a dialectical process. Hegel says to evaluate reality is a dialectical process. It is not either seeing or it is not either experience, but rather it is a dialectical process through which real can be known. Now here Hegel, probably many people say that he committed a mistake. He said that the absolute truth, the absolute spirit, the spirit of the age is something, the monopoly of God. Something, the monopoly of God. Now many people have criticized Hegel here. So when you just come down to this analysis portion, write 4 things. Number 1, that Hegel is right in saying that dialectical process can only understand the reality or the rational. So I am coming on to that as far as the second part is analysis is concerned, by saying that this truth, this reality, this rational is the monopoly of God, truth is monopoly of God, is wrong. The third thing, that he in his philosophical views tried to rationalize the German state, idealize the German state, saying that the German state is rational, saying that the German state is real, is not correct. And the fourth thing is that as far as Hegel's perception of this, that every age is different. And there are the transitions of the ages. This is correct. But he said that the age is based on a particular idea. The dominant idea is the thesis. New idea is the antithesis. And the outcome is the synthesis. So this synthesis becomes the idea of the new age. Marx criticized that the real thing is the material thing. The real thing is the material thing. Whatever is evaluated, no doubt in a dialectical process, that is the real thing. Now, herein we comes what is real and what is rational. The rational is the idealized thing. The rational thing is the ideal thing. The real thing is the reasonable thing. So both are same. But whereas, as far as the real thing is, it is the dialectical interpretation of the reality. Dialectical interpretation of the reality. If somebody is trying to observe and know the reality of India, he has to be dialectical. He has to be dialectical. So, as the Russian historian said, that the Vijayanagar Empire was very prosperous. But this prosperity was confined to the nobility of the society, the rich of the society. Not the general masses were prosperous. General masses were, so this is the dialectical thing. This is the mass and the elite. This dialectics. And so on the basis of this, a synthetic view can be observed that yes, that this is what it is. Now this Oxfam has given his report. The wealth of India has increased, but not the betterment of India has increased, because the large number of people remain poor, remain just deprived. So it's a fact that wealth of the nation has increased. It is also a fact that the condition of the masses has not improved. So this is a dialectical view. When we try to know reason, according to Hegel, we apply reason. We want to know the real, we apply reason. What is reasoning? Reasoning is a process of elimination and substantiation. Elimination is, if this is not correct, why this can be correct? If this is wrong, why this cannot be the right thing? So this kind of an elimination process is the dialectical process through which we know the real. But the real is also the rational. The real is also rational because what happens? Rationality takes the goal and rationality tries to just take the means through which the goals are being attained, through which the goals are to be just attempted or to be achieved. And there both the things become same. The real is the rational and the rational is the real, because the ideal is what you dialectically assume and the rational what you dialectically want. That is what. When you just conclude that Hegel was the best possible analytical philosopher of his time, he gave much importance to ideas. He was an idealistic. The second thing is that he was countered by those people who were materialist. Feuerbach, Karl Marx, they were materialistic, they opposed his views. But as far as his views of real and rational is concerned, there was a criticism. People said his view of real is correct, his view of rational is not correct. Because the rational is not only ideal, the rational is that you are correctly, you are substantially trying to establish a relation between the ends and the means. He committed a mistake because he said end is the perfect spirit, end is the spirit of the age, and this age is East in the German state. That is the wrong thing, that is the incorrect thing. Hegel was a great philosopher. He might have not been the perfect philosopher, but he led the basis of the analytical philosophy and he guided the whole range of philosophers. Marx was never a student of Hegel, but he joined a group, those who are criticizing the views of Hegel. That was in his Berlin days the Hegelian Club, and this Hegelian Club, he wanted that Hegel was right in his dialectics, Hegel was wrong in his idealism. This is the view.
Nothing but realistic values does not change.
No, actually what happens, that the realistic word you are using it in a general way. How we use the word real. Real of the philosophers, for example this Hegel, this real of the philosopher is something different. How we perceive the status of a particular society. This in a way you say, this is the reality in India. You describe yourself that this much is the GDP, this much is the growth rate, this. No, as far as this Hegel is concerned, he is saying the right thing, that you have to observe in a dialectical sense. What is the dialectical sense? That what is the dominant idea? What new idea is confronting it? And then what is coming out? What would be the outcome of this thing? So naturally, as far as Gandhian philosophy was the philosophy, or is the philosophy still officially the dominant philosophy of India? The new philosophy is the Hindutva philosophy. They are the class. And when you evaluate this in this manner, you are undecided. What would be the future?
It may is psychological conflicts.
No, this is not psychological. This is a real conflict.
Real and psychological conflict.
This is near nothing psychological. This is the real. This is what dialectics is. This involves power. This involves economy. This involves culture. This involves the participants. That is why this is a thing which is the right thing. As far as the...
As per realism in society is a constant, sir. It will not change. It will, but rationality in a society, it will continuously changing, sir, due to the comparisons and.
No, this is actually what Hegel said. Hegel said, man is a child of his times. We can go on lecturing on this for hours and hours together. But since in essay, you are given 3 hours time, and in that 3 hours, if such topics come, then you become somewhat confused. There is no need of confusion, because if you give almost 15 minutes to select and just make a rough work, the 15 minutes are enough. Both the essays can be selected. So don't ever confuse. You select the essay, you start writing, and then after writing one page, you cut it down. No, that is bad. You have to select in a very cool manner, and just if you give 5 minutes, the first reaction, the nervous or the this joyous reaction would be over within 5 or 2 or 3 minutes. I think that. So, as far as this fifth essay is concerned, that means that the hand that rocks the cradle rules the world. This seems to be very easy. The basic theme of this essay is motherhood has been debased in modern times. The need of the hour is to restore the importance of motherhood. Apparently, this is that the hand that rocks the cradle, the hand that rules the world. This is a celebration of motherhood. In reality, the essay says that motherhood has been denigrated in modern times. There is need to restore the motherhood again. But as far as this essay is concerned, I have started with a Punjabi legend. What is that legend? A man loved his wife very much. His wife was very much hateful to his mother-in-law. She did not want to see that fat lady. So, the wife goes to her mother's place and asks the husband, if you want to please me, you just bring the heart of your mother. He killed his mother, got the heart in his bag, and just went to his in-laws' place. He fell down once, and the heart yells, "Oh son, are you hurt?" So this is the legend. In a Hindi cinema, there are two brothers. One is a ruffian, rogue, other is an honest police inspector. The rogue says, "You bugger, what you have? I have the car, I have the building, I have this luxury place." That police officer, honest police officer, humbly retorts, "I have mother on my side." Then the third instance I just give is that there is an Urdu writer who says, "When my father died, the things were partitioned among the brothers or among we brothers, we sons. I was the youngest. I got mother in my share and I am happy with this. So this is what is the introduction itself. As far as the AC is concerned, I have tried to, in the elaboration part, I have said mother in literature. Mother in literature, because this is a line, the line that has been quoted by William Ross and this Wallace. By now, all of you have seen this in the net or Google. In 1865, he wrote this poem, and this is a couplet from that poem itself. Now, as far as this poem is concerned, this simply utilizes the mother. This was the period when industry was just maturing. It had started, but it was maturing, and mother was still important, and so he said that mother is really important. So, as far as this, I have tried to say mother in literature. We give a story of Michael Faraday, the famous scientist. Faraday had 4 brothers. His father remained ill for long years. His mother was a courageous lady, having much of perseverance and much of enduring capacity. Now, one person, Ludwig, had written the biography of Michael Faraday. Now, Ludwig writes that everybody was almost frustrated, but not the mother. She always said that, you see I am here, and so long I am here, you will not starve. So long I am here, you will not starve. And she, by hook or crook, she slept without food, but she never lets the sons go without food. She provided something to them. Now, in literature, probably Mother, the novel by Maxim Gorky, is one of the best examples. Russia at that time was undergoing a deep or a very, very large scale process of revolution. The workers' colonies had many mothers. Maxim Gorky presents a mother who is the mother of a worker. She sympathizes with the movement and she encourages them. Gorky writes that more than anything else, the encouragement of the mothers for us, the workers, was great. They came back much frustrated in the struggle. They are dissatisfied there, many of them were injured, but the moment mother said, no, you go on, your cause is just, and they all felt again inspired. So, in literature, many people have described. Now here, we come with 2. There is one, Bankim Chandra Chatterjee. A writer. He wrote the famous book Anand Mat The story of the rebellion of the sannyasis sent in Bengal against a Muslim ruler. In this literature, in this book, he has presented the mother as the Mother India. As the Mother India. Probably this was the first reference in Indian literature, in Bengali literature, wherein this writer Bankim Chand Chatterjee says, India is the mother. It is the mother goddess that we want to worship. So, as far as this war is concerned, women in India have been in war. So, that Jhansi, Lakshmi Bai, the mother was in the war. She was in the battlefield. She lost her life, but she presented an example of the courageous woman, a brave woman who could excel even in the battlefield. So we also give the example of Tarabai. Probably many people have not known her, but she was a Maratha leader in the male bastion of Maratha politics. She was a lone woman warrior. She was a lone woman Sardar who knew all the commanders under her command. Like a mother, she tried to protect them and she tried to lead them in the warfare. Now, her example, probably it was because of that male dominance that she was not given much of importance. But as far as modern history is concerned, now she has been excavated out from the archives of the history and she is given her due importance in Indian history, in Maratha history. She was excellent in warfare in the terrains of Maratha land. She led her forces with all the courage, with all the sincerity. So, I have already told you that this mother as worshipped in religion in India. The Sakti denomination, mother is worshipped as the most powerful goddess. Vaishno Devi, Kamakhya Devi, Meenakshi Devi, Durga Mata, all these women goddesses are more powerful than any male god. So, mother is the powerful, mother is the most powerful. This Sakti religion, this Sakti denomination declares. And in Bengal, mother goddesses are supreme. In parts of Assam, before Shankar Dev's movement, mother goddess was the supreme. In parts of Odisha, this is the case. In parts of Bihar, this is the case. Mother is worshipped as the most powerful lady. But what has happened in the modern age? The Scandinavian countries, Finland, Sweden, Denmark and Norway, these countries, women do not want to marry. In most of the Western countries, fertility rate has gone down to minus. In Japan, if somebody produces one child, he is given a car. In Germany, if one produces a child, he is given a house. American women, they adopt children from Philippines, adopt children from Bangladesh, adopt children from Burma, but they will not produce. There is a very popular joke or a cliche. The American lady, when faced with the problem, should they have a car, Plymouth, or should they have a baby? They say, no, I would have the car better. So this is the basic theme of the essay, that motherhood has lost its value, lost its that internal, the material. It has to be restored again. And it's a fact that even today, or even in the modern age, Shivaji's mother was not very educated, but Shivaji's mother was the basic reason, was the primary reason why Shivaji became Shivaji. Why Shivaji became Shivaji? It was the training, it was the dedication of her mother that he became an adventurous man in a small state of Bijapur, and from there he established an independent kingdom. Now, it is true that still today, those people who are very much successful, many of them have very inspiring mothers. Very inspiring mothers. So, yeah. So, Gautami Putra Satkarni was a male, no doubt, but she was, Gautami was the mother. Gautami was the mother. And so, even in the modern age, I am saying, even in the modern age, those persons who have excelled in their lives, many of them have very inspiring mothers. So, in the analysis part, we have to write the modern age. And when you are conclude, despite all modernity and postmodernity, mother remains the supreme being, and she is the force to reckon with. Those people who have very inspiring mothers have really achieved much success in their lives. Much success in their life. Now, then there is an essay.
But one culture is present going now, sir. Sirosi culture. They are taking the children by...
No, actually, this is not the question of culture. This is a question of modernity. This is a question of individuality. So, it is a fact. You do not write here that in Western literature, it is said, family is the place where woman is denigrated. Woman becomes the slave of the family. So family is bad. If this happens, now when a 2 or 3 or 4 member family, nuclear family is there, how she is the boss of the family. Now this is, there is a contradiction. You need not write here this contradiction. Woman and the age, woman and the society. We have quoted Nahida Hassan, that lady from Pakistan. She said that Pakistani males want to marry Indian female because they are very docile, very obedient, and the Pakistani females are very aggressive. Every day they give a chappal to their husbands, and a sandal thing is there. So naturally, the Americans also do not want the American wives because they fear that aggressive American lady. Anytime the slap or the sandal come just as rockets. So, you need not write that here.
Mother-in-laws will not...
Yeah, so mother is the inspiring force. That is the question. Now, then the essay topic is research is what is research? A blind date with knowledge. Now the very word research, search, again search, research. So the modern age is the age of research. The modern age is the age of research. It is the most systematic, deliberate method of producing knowledge, seeking truth, to know the right thing, to know knowledge, to produce knowledge, to know the cause. This is the age of research. But as far as research is concerned, research is a difficult process, right in the introduction itself, and most of the researchers fail to yield any results, to fail to produce any knowledge. So, elaboration, right? What is research? Research is a systematic process to know the cause behind the phenomena, behind a process, behind an object. What is knowledge? Knowledge is the finding of the real causes of the real results. The real causes of the real results. So, knowledge is not absolute. It can change. It can. So many of the earlier principles have been revised, have been rectified. But knowledge in simple, research is aimed at seeking knowledge. This research, what is research? So, research is first taking a problem, taking a subject, taking a kind of a topic. Why women suffer from patriarchy? This is the subject. Do the research. How will do it? So, after taking this subject, after taking this problematic, after taking this just issue, you collect all information what is available right now in the society, in the academia, in other fields. On the basis of that, the researcher tries to present or tries to develop an explanation. That is called hypothesis. That is called hypothesis. That this women suffer from patriarchy because they are not earning. This is your hypothesis, that this is the cause. Then you collect information, systematic information, you classify the information and then try to see, eliminate and substantiate the whole answers. You see that where women are earning, even then they are suffering from patriarchy. The vegetable seller woman, the fish selling woman, they are earning. The poor women, they are always earners. But even then every evening they are battered by their husbands, that brutes, the sabji wali or the sabji seller or the vegetable seller woman. She is helpless. That goon comes to her, collects all the money for his booze, and then if he is very much pleased, give 2 or 3 slaps to her. And then that earning lady, your research fails. That no, even if I am earning, I am being beaten by a husband. So, there is something else which is behind this patriarchy. Still people are trying to know. Religion is there, tradition is there, economy is there, culture is there, but it's still the pinpointed thing. Every male is doing that. So the cause lies in system. So that's why we say that as far as this research is concerned, why people do research? There are probably, why one is just doing research? Probably there are 4 reasons. One, curiosity. This curiosity. Columbus wanted to take a circle of the world from west to east. There was some insect which has bitten him, that he should, what is the need? But Vasco da Gama, when he came to India, he was not doing any research. He had come with gunboats to eliminate the Arab traders in this Indian Ocean. So naturally, or in this part of the ocean. So, research that Henry, the man from Belgium, he wanted to know about this Central Africa. Everything, the Maghreb was known, the south coastal region was known, but not the Central African things were known to the Europeans. Henry Smith, he came to this area, wanted to know about this. Many have lost their lives earlier, but then he succeeded. So the second thing is interest or necessity. Necessity is the mother of inventions. This is a very popular saying. So this is right, this is right. This COVID-19, world over scientists tried to find out what this bastard is and how to overcome this bastard. The bastard is always changing his form, sometimes delta, sometimes melta. Oh, the people were, people were omicrons, and people are just, but there was the necessity, and people were interested to just this necessity, that how we can just do this, and they found out. The third thing is coercion. Leonardo Vinci, that Italian scholar, a polymath, a scientist, an artist who painted that Mona Lisa, he was also a scientist. He was forced to develop an arrow which can kill the person or the enemy just at once. The Second World War. Many coercers or many dictators, Hitler developed many things by coercing people. No, you have to do it. No matter whatever happens, you have to do it. You have to develop it. And then the interest. People want to benefit. So when trade is started in the 12th century in large scale, the researchers, the scientists wanted to find out new kind of ships, new kind of trading with this shipping ways, new kind of the trade paths. This was not necessity, rather this was the interest. I want to have more and more wealth. So just as this is, there are, what are the types of researches?
So one more thing, identity purpose also they will go to NASA.
Identity? What is the...
Identity purpose they will be do the research also NASA.
No, what is this? The scientists want to identity or what?
It's a technology research.
No, actually what happens, that why one should be in the laboratory. There must be some reason for it. That's not the scientist does not. So you say the recognition is one of the things that people want to have recognition. But that recognition has also some purpose behind it, And so I say that as far as the types of researches are concerned, there are researches in the natural world. Research for knowing the cause of cancer, research for knowing the cause of cold, this cold, common cold, research for knowing other things. So this is the natural science research. The second research is social science research. I have given the example that a woman is interested why there is patriarchy. Why there is patriarchy. So as far as the third research is concerned, that is called market research. Now this Hindustan Lever Limited is not successful in the things, so someone else would come. Ashirwad Atta was selling more, so they have come with the Fortune Atta. So research for the market, research for just increasing the sale of a particular object. Then there are problematic researches. Some new disease like COVID-19. In Bengal, arsenic water or arsenic filled water is there. They are doing that research. So these researches can more or less, all research is a blind date. They do not know if they will be successful or not. 90% cases, research fails to yield the result. Research fails to end or achieve any knowledge. There is hundreds of scientists are finding out the causes of cancer so that they can control cancer. But is this failure a waste of time? No. Every failure is a stepping stone in the way to success. This is the. So now what has happened? As far as cancer is concerned, yes, the final cure is not known. But the breast cancer, more or less controlled. The cancer of the throat, more or less the control, or the senses of the anus, more or less controlled. It is only the internal organs, the lungs, the bronchocephalus, all these are not still controlled, but it is the limited success of the research in cancer that we have been able to overcome some of the types of cancers. Now, here in the analysis is concerned, research is for human good, but it's also for human bad. The Chinese have developed the hypersonic bombs. Americans have also created these bombs. They have got so much of armory, so many types of bombs. It's also the result of this research. Research is a two-edged sword. It can kill also, it can give new life also. So this is dependent on man or the powers, what kind of use they want to take from research. What kind of what kind of this benefit they want to take from research. There are medicines also, or there are poisons also. The same research produces both the things. There are such fertilizers or such chemical products which can finish the whole vegetation in a particular area. So there are poisonous gases. All these things can happen. So naturally, research, when you conclude, right, that research is an effort to find out knowledge, right? This is a systematic process, right? This is a long process of finding the truth. Many of the researches, majority of the researches fail, but then all such failures are the stepping stones. Now, when you suggest research should be done for the betterment of humanity, when you conclude the last lines, research is a process or a very complex, very difficult process where we try to know the unknown. It is a jump in the deep sea, and some of the persons, they come out with the joys, or they say come out of these better things from that ocean or from the deep sea. So naturally, as far as this essay is concerned, the seventh essay, history repeats itself first as a tragedy, second as a farce. There's nothing very typical. This is a very famous quote of Karl Marx. Karl Marx wrote a book in 1849, probably, The Revolution of the 18th Brumaire. The Revolution of the 18th Brumaire. Karl Marx, Revolution of the 18th Brumaire. This 18th Brumaire is nothing very typical. This is the French date. The date in French history, the French use this kind of a numerology and they use such dates. So, this is the revolution of Napoleon. This is the revolution of the Napoleon, nothing else. Taking in 1799, he took over as the first consul. In 1806, he became the monarch of France or monarch of French Empire. That is a fact. Now, you start or introduce that the history has a course to pursue and it pursues this course. Sometimes it seems history is repeating itself, but that is only a parody of the history when this is said that this is repeating, and in no person, no scholar has ever given a cyclical theory of social change. If they give it, they give it in a different way, because never history follows a cycle. It is always an advanced epoch. The later epochs are always an advanced epoch. They are much better than the earlier epochs, the earlier ages. When you elaborate, write that Karl Marx, on the basis of his readings of European history, on the basis of his reading of the history of the Asian countries, he presented a theory of change which is not evolutionary. Many people say that it is evolution. No, it's wrong. It is not evolution that Marx takes or talks. It is spiralis. This spiralis is then a jump. It's a jump in a very unequal manner. There are some insects like this. They just squeeze their whole back and then take a jump. History is never a gradual process. Rather, it is a process of jumps and bumps. It's a process of jumps and bumps. Now, as far as this process is concerned, what Marx said, that history has a different definite course. Not the exact history, but the broad pattern of history has a course. And this course is, this starts with number 1. This is the primitive communism. First stage is primitive communism. Then this is also, in simple terms, the tribal society. It is the tribal society. The second is the slave society. Yes, Marx mistakenly talked about an intermediate
second home, sir, home, second one.
Yes.
Yes, sir, that's one, sir. Third one, third one. Third one.
Then
Notice. Can you come on that one has closed?
find it.
Please, sir. 8 minutes.
Ah. Yes. So this Asiatic mode was mistakenly presented by him. By now it is clear that this society was nothing typical. This was Asian feudalism. This Asiatic mode of production or Asiatic society by Marx was a wrong thing, was a mistake, and it was really the Asiatic feudalism. The third stage is feudalism. The fourth is capitalism. The fifth is socialism. And the sixth is communism. Now, as far as this human society is concerned, this is simply a framework. This is simply a broad pattern, not exact history. This is simply a broad pattern. After the tribal society, there was the slave society. Even in India, there was a slave society, as many people or many have, for example, R.S. Sharma have also said that the very word dasha is indicative of there was a slave society. And probably after this Vedic period, the post-modern society, post-Vedic period was a slave society, and so there were slaves. Then the feudal society, when it is said land is a supreme course, woman becomes a commodity, and this tradition becomes, religion becomes very powerful in this feudal society. Capitalism is the system when profit and accumulation are the basic causes of production. Capitalism is the most popular form of economic system all over the world. As far as socialism is concerned, where the instruments of production are socially owned, either by the state or by the society or by the cooperatives, but it is communally owned. It develops, and right now probably 13 countries in the world, Cuba, China, Vietnam, Laos, all these countries probably are Cambodia, these are pursuing the socialist path or the socialist stage. But in comparison to capitalism, socialism is a very weak. If China becomes the world power, and then it may, with this Cuba and then others, Russia is not a socialist state. So, and as far as communism is concerned, no state in the world has till date have reached the communist stage. So Marx said that this is the normal process. This is the normal course of social change. This is the popular course of social change. Now, there can be peculiar things, there can be jumps, there can be some skipping of the stages. Africa, Marx knew in his time that African states are mostly tribal states, but they are from the tribal state jumping straight to the capitalist states. Because of the contacts with the Western powers, they are becoming colonies, but in the process of becoming colonies, they are also transforming to the stage of capitalism as such, stage of capitalism as such. Now, as far as this course is concerned, Marx wanted to answer the taking over the French Empire by Napoleon. As far as Napoleon is concerned, Napoleon became the first consul in 1799, demolishing the revolutionary regime, the radical regime. In 1806, he declared himself to be the monarch. Now, this is after capitalism had come in 1789 to France. Then again this course was a reversal of history. Many people said that history has repeated itself. Marx said no. This is not a repeat, this is simply a tragedy. This is simply a tragedy. Napoleon was very much radical in the sense that he became the monarch, but he did not leave the ideas of French Revolution. What are those ideas? The ideas of liberty, the ideas of fraternity, the ideas of equality. So the European kings and monarchs, they did not fear the force of Napoleon. They feared the ideas which Napoleon carried. So those are the progressive ideas. And those are the radical ideas carried by a person who claimed to be an emperor. Naturally, this was a contradiction, but Marx said this was a tragedy. In 1830 again, because after Napoleon took over, again the radicals own. But again what happens? Louis XVIII, this Louis XVIII became the king. He wanted to restore feudalism, but more than that, this Charles X he was, as this historian Stevenson said, that he did not learn anything from history, neither he forgotten anything of feudalism. Charles X wanted to restore feudalism in the full force, and he wanted to bring back the glory of the French Empire and the French emperor as well to the full bloom. This was a farce. Marx said this was a farce. And so Marx, who had participated in the 1848 revolution, which established the Second Republic, and then any revolution in France was replicated in other countries also, other European countries. It was only England that did not see or did not witness any of these revolutions. In England, there was the Chartist movement of the labor, but they simply feared, they trembled like anything. When in Germany, when in France, the laborers captured the French state. It was they said that it was the communist state. It failed, no doubt. But the laborers or the workers of France were very radical. A revolution is not a regular thing. Revolution is an irregular thing. China experienced revolution, India did not. Russia experienced revolution, this England did not. So naturally, even the American, they have experienced a revolution because they defeated mercantilism by the American War of Independence. That was American Revolution. That was American Revolution. So, what Marx says, and Marx tries to prove it, that history never repeats itself. Exact histories may seem to be repeating itself, but it never occurs. In the analysis, you write that there are criticisms of Marx by saying that no, history has repeated itself many times, but that those are wrong assumptions, because even Pareto, the very important Italian scholar who was a very conservative and who gave the theory of residues and derivatives, circulation of elite, but only the elite circulates. Rahul Gandhi and Narendra Modi ji may be circulating. Society does not circulate. Society cannot go back to some 50 years ago. No, it would go high, it would go up, not go back. So naturally, when you conclude that Marx has given a particular frame of history that was not very different from Hegelian frame of history, the only difference was that Hegel was insisting on idea, Marx was insisting on the material things. Now, as far as the concluding lines is concerned, you write that Marx was for socialism, and he said that socialism is a radical force. Socialism would definitely come at one time, but there are countries. For example, this is a tragedy that in Russia, after socialism, again capitalism has taken over. But this is simply a tragedy if you use the Marxian terms. Now that cannot last, as Marx said. But definitely it is said that Marx has tried to go for a pre-designed course. That is not correct. That is not correct. So this is a kind of a self-construction, not the right thing. But you conclude that history never goes back, it always marches ahead. History never goes back, it always marches ahead. So naturally we come to the this last essay, that is
history never goes back, but situation will come in future now, sir.
No, actually, even this thing, that as far as the social science studies are concerned, now what is happening, that in India, they are saying that there will be Hindu Rashtra. So the old symbols again are being restored. Now social science, because this Bhanu Pratap Mehta, he in his one of the modern discussions said that for a time being that can be restored, but as far as long-term courses are there, it cannot go back. It is again go ahead, it won't go back. So that there can be a temporary break, but not a permanent break. After all, in France, there is a temporary break. Even in England, there was, after capitalism, there was a back to this feudalism for some time. But this could not happen. At one time, when East India Company was formed, in this company, 40% share of this queen was there. Victoria controlled 40% of the share. Queen Victoria controlled. But can this happen now? Later on, this company was replaced by, so actually what happened, in 1857, when the War of Independence failed, that was on the part of England a victory of the industrialists over the merchants of London. It was a victory of capitalism over mercantilism. That was also, but this could not sustain, because the Britishers are the very accommodative people, they are very compromising people. The capitalists compromised with the merchants and the merchants compromised with the lords. How in England even today there are many estates, many lords, lord of this and lord of this. This country witnessed the Industrial Revolution, the first in the world. I say that it was America which witnessed first, because by 1776, by 1790 also, England was mercantilist, and whereas America had gone capitalist, it was already industrial. Many people are there who say this because Americans were very enterprising. Even today in England, there is the Queen, titular king, titular head of the state. This could not happen in America. So this is something people would say that no, the form has only retained, the substance has gone high, the substance has marched ahead. This is the thing. So there are practices to best practices. I have started the essay with Raghuram Rajan. Rajan says that as far as practices and best practices, as far as these practices are concerned, Raghuram Rajan said, now the techniques and technologies are changing so fast that when you start evaluating the present technology or the present stage of technology, we see that the present technology had gone high or had marched ahead. So there is very fast change. Earlier also said that technologies have changed always, but the only difference is that now the technologies are changing very fast. The essay topic says that there will be always the search for best practices. The search for best practices. If today we are getting food by ordering from home, getting the movie ticket from home, getting all the, this should again develop to something else. This should again develop to something else, and we would have more comforts, we would have more amenities. Today the amenities would become inadequate in future, and those amenities would be insufficient in future. So, as far as this best practices are concerned, now when we elaborate, I say that in the modern business practices, there are certain principles. Number one, that those workers who are very skilled but who have become alienated for some reason or other, bring back them to the front ranks. Number two is that you reward them all the better achievements. Number three, don't be mechanical, rather you be flexible in reaching the goals. Now, as far as governance is concerned, in modern times, as the UNDP, the World Bank says, governance is the best thing possible which can provide amenities to people in a better manner, and the level of dissatisfaction people have, they will not be there. That would not be there. So, what is required? What is good governance? It says that governance must have transparency. Governance must have accountability. Governance should have delivery of the services, delivery of the goods. Governance should have communication from the top to the bottom and from bottom to the top. And governance must ensure the welfare of all. People are saying, then in Uttar Pradesh, what has happened? Governance has failed. Railway recruitment, fiasco. Not only in Bihar, in Uttar Pradesh.
Yesterday train has been.
Yeah. Today they are Bihar Bandh. So, what is the failure? It is the failure of the governance. You can punish the boys, you can punish the girls, but you will have to find out the causes that governance demands, that governance requires. Why this failure? This was a failure of governance. That exams, there is much of unemployment. That's a broader question. But governance also, this indicates that in a country, such a large country, you cannot deny jobs to people. And so there is the need of doing better always from the present technology, from the present practice to the next stage practice. After the First World War, what happened in America? Despite all the efforts, production was declining. Good production or quality production was not taking place. So, the American government and some of the business companies, they wanted to know what is the cause. We are employing the best practices of scientific management and so the management, we are trying to this Frederick Taylor. This Frederick Taylor was the master of scientific management. But things were not improving with this scientific management. So in 1924, they decided to entrust a research project to Elton Mayo. He conducted research on the very famous Western Electrical Company of Chicago. The research project was Hawthorne Research Project, and that was the organization which was responsible for that. Now, what happened in this research? Mayo found that many of the workers are not happy because the relationship between the worker and the management has become a mechanical relationship. What he suggested, that there should be human relations. The management should attend the marriage ceremony of the workers' sons. They should participate in the pathos and the happiness of the workers. They should empathize with the workers. From that period onwards, the human relations approach became a popular approach in a popular approach in public administration, in industrial management, in industrial relations as well. So naturally, as far as this betterment is concerned, still today there is scope of best practices in the governance. So as far as this best practices in governance are concerned, so government has to develop. There are researches and researches how in India this welfare amount can just grow up, how in India there can be safety valves in the face of this liberalization, face of globalization, how that can be done. So there are many good things which have been done. It is in the field of, so this FSA, Food Security Act 2013 is a very good step in minimizing the tragedy or minimizing the poverty, minimizing the deprivation of the people in India. 2/3 rural people are benefiting from this scheme. In the same manner, those food grains given to the people or those who are below poverty line, these are the good steps. There should be better governance in the rural areas where people do not know about the welfare measures. There should be a new take on them. That government has done direct benefit scheme, has done really good thing because corruption has been eliminated in the present setup. So as far as this politics is concerned, Supreme Court has been entrusted with the case, freebies are bad. There is a very good debate. As far as I am concerned, I have written in many journals that there should be freebies. Why? The Uttar Pradesh government gave them the laptops. If you have the airplane in your home, you learn to just operate the airport. If you have got the mobile in your home, even the illiterate tribal woman would know how to download, how to broadcast, how to give a missed call, how to do all these things. So give them the laptops. There are many promises. What is bad in it? Because the government is providing, if these two bike, what is this called? This mechanized bikes, scooties. And it gave scooties to women. It would give them speed. If they just now, many of the ladies in the urban centers, earlier it was the old man who took the child to the school. Now the lady on the scooty, get the child on the scooty, takes her or him to the school. This is the practice. So what is bad in it? By this, they are getting scooties. It is the dance of democracy in India.
But it will be converted as a nexus.
No, actually what happens? Now, you may not want it or you may want it. Democracy is a system where capitalism is the base. But this base is not bad. The only bad thing is that democracy is becoming very, very costly affair. Even to fight a panchayat election, you need at least 10 lakhs. Yeah. So this is the bad thing about the elections. Now, as far as this social relations, right now the social relations have gone bad. People are not taking care of their mothers, their parents, no matter how much the state gives directions, how much the religious priest speaks about, oh, those people, those who do not care about their parents, they'll simply go straight to the hell. It won't use, of no use. This is going to happen. This is a theory of exchange. You do not care about your mother and father, your children will not care about you. This is going to happen. So, the best management as far as this family relations or the domestic relations or the informal relations are concerned, the government has to provide for old age homes. That's the only solution. And this may take different forms, but because children, simply because capitalism is advancing, individualism is advancing, children would not care for their parents. It's a transition phase, some 25 years ahead or some 30 years ahead. Every human being, every Indian in India would have to provide for this old age. This is a fact. So the government or the public sector or the corporates have to provide for this. As far as there was a very famous German scholar. He was basically an economist, a professor of economics, Max Weber. Now Weber said, this man Weber said that in modern society, the bureaucratic practices are the best practices. These are the rational practices. These are the rational practices. What are these rational practices? Importance of expertise and knowledge, importance of hierarchy, importance of formal rules, importance of distribution of the job and distribution of the statuses, importance of boundaries, importance of this formal agreement between the management and the employees. In India, 95% workers work in the informal sector. No rules. The worker from Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, even Odisha, when there is a marriage season, they go for 15 days without any application. And they after come 1 month. Had gone for 15 days, they come after 1 month. I was busy in some marriages also. Some more invitations I got. So naturally, this is India. This is nothing typical, nothing. Because we are in a process or in a stage of transition. This transition is taking its toll, but slowly will be going. And after all, modernity does not have only one model. Take for instance the Japanese people, or Western China also. They have got the large families. Dauka is the family. They just employ most of their employees. Americans say, no, we will get the best hand. They said, no, I will have my maternal uncle as the manager. You cannot deny or you can't just challenge the Japanese. They are the best producers in the world. But they do not follow the rules of formal employment. They have their friends as managers. They have their uncles as managers. So, It can happen only in Japan that when the company is facing a crisis, they assemble their managers, their executives, their laborers. See, we are suffering losses. From this month, we'll give you only half the salary. Okay. So this is a kind of a relationship. Here Weber is a failure because they are not accepting the formal rules. The only thing is they are performing better and they are reaching the goal better. So best practices are those practices which reach the goal efficiently and effectively in easy manner. As far as best practices are concerned, what happens that in capitalism, the best practices leads to denial of human relations. Capitalism is the best economic system the world has ever had, but it is the worst system as far as humanism is concerned. Capitalism, it is the analytical part of this essay. You analyze that yes, we go for best practices and best practices, but in that process, we lose our humanity. We lose our human relations.
That's why, sir, mother-in-law and
Yeah, but that is an incident. That here what happens, that people become so selfish that they do not take care of the community. Again, we just put Raghuram Rajan here. The book he wrote, Raghuram Rajan, formerly now professor in this, probably he the professor in
USS.
yeah, yes, Michigan University or something like that. But he's a professor of economics there. Our Subramanian Swami says that he does not know any economics because Raghuram Rajan was a student of IIT Kharagpur. Yeah, so but he's an engineer, not an economist. But I am trying to say that the third pillar, his book, 2020 book, what he says, that there is the market, there is the state, and there is the community. These are the three pillars of any society. What has happened? There is an imbalance now. The market has become very powerful. The state is taking it should have been this impartial arbiter, but it has taken the side of the market. The community has been neglected. The community life has been neglected. The community life has been just dominated by, suppressed by the market and the state. What is this community life? A village should have taken care of its own needs, some needs. A city would have taken care of some needs. Now there is the practice, or there is the concern, or there are the institutions, city governments, Panchayati Raj. The panchayats which represent the community in a balanced manner, they should have taken this thing. But are they functioning? Are the city councils functioning? Yes, probably in Bombay, they are doing that. Brihat Nagar or this Metropolitan Council in Bombay, they are doing good work. As far as the reports have come, that was also reported in some of the journals. Even Hindu came out with that report that since all the cities which have external interactions, Kerala, despite the best possible health facilities in India or among all states, that is experiencing almost high amount of COVID infections or COVID-19 infections. The same is happening in Bombay.
So, but they have a good health system, but the infection rate is very high. What is the reason behind?
Because the external relationship.
It's
The more some people have interaction with outside countries, the more they would infect the people here.
Arab traders coming.
Yeah. That Delhi has a very large population, almost 2 crores. Yeah. But this NCR, National Capital Region, has 2 crores. But there is less of foreign interaction. Foreign interaction is less. And then the testing is much more compared to the other cities. So the positivity rate, that means positivity rate what? The people who have been tested, how many have become positive of those tests? So out of 100, how many have been tested as positive? That's the positive. This is declining because external, there is internal people from Bihar. 37 lakh people from Bihar have come to this Delhi. The Biharis are almost damaging the whole ecology of this Delhi. So naturally, their state is backward, they are also making backward this Delhi. So but here you see the Biharis are following the rules because of the city norms or because of the city environment. In Bihar, they say that the rules are for fools. That is not the best practice. So what I say, that as far as Raghuram Rajan says is concerned, in the analysis you write that the best practices in business, in industry, in government, they have led to some kind of an imbalance where certain sections, particularly human relations, have been at stake. They have been at stake, and naturally that has to be corrected. In the conclusion, write that always there is a possibility of best practice, always there is a possibility of improvement. That is this essay's main topic is that. But it should not be at the cost of human relations. It not be at the cost of humanism. It not be at the cost of social relations. So, the best thing would be that there should be a balance between the market, between the state and the community, as Raghuram Rajan says. The third pillar, that the community has been neglected, has been suppressed and has been demonized. So that should be restored again. Mind you, as far as this discussion is concerned, I come to an end. But two things I must say, that whenever you are preparing for essay, it carries 250 marks. It should have equal attention as the GS first, GS second, GS third, their fourth should be given as much time. You cannot write an essay in the exam hall without writing at least 10 to 20 essays in your homes. You will say, sir, the days are over when we mugged some essays and we just reproduced those essays in the exam hall. Actually, nothing has changed. These philosophical essays have also the same content. If you look at them, as I said right now, as I've discussed right now, the same thing. If you have the practice of writing and following a structure, you may have your structure. Essay means present a thing in totality. So, essay has to have a beginning and essay has to have an ending. In the middle, you write elaboration, you write that analysis. Some people may not agree to this, but there are some books in English literature. And there are some essay topics also, very famous essays. Even in India, some people have written essays, not for your UPSC exam, but the essays they have felt that they should be written. There is a man in sociology, Andre Bete. This man, this historian Ramchandar Guha has also published a book of essays. There is a book on cricket by him, and that cricket book has chapters which can be just conceived as essays. You see them if you have the... Now, last I will say, as there are two things. This last I say that as a UPSC aspirant, you need to study some extra thing also, not the original ones. Go for Karl Marx, maybe hating Marx like anything, that bastard. You may hate Hegel, you may hate Friedrich Nietzsche, you may hate Nehru, you may hate Gandhi, you may hate Vivekananda, or you may hate some other people also. But these are the people. For example, you should know something about American Revolution. In the first paper, GS, there is world history, and this time world history question has come. This time culture was neglected. That was a bad thing. But world history has come. American history should be known and should be just under your understanding, because two personalities are always relevant for India. One is Washington and another is that suave, cunning Republican Abraham Lincoln. These two personalities, Lincoln was a Republican, and he did not give that definition of democracy. We have concocted this as a definition of democracy at Gettysburg in on the cemetery there in 1863 probably. So, but he was a very, very intelligent man and a very good balancer that way. He could keep the unity of America, and it was simply his genius that he was successful in that. So, right, we were a colony of England, but I don't think there was anybody in England who can inspire us as the American personalities can inspire us. So, I said that the last thing is that you have to have something about Nehru, something about Gandhi, something about Vivekananda, something about these people of South India and some leaders of South India, some leaders of Bengal. And as far as the Western countries are concerned, I told you about Lincoln, I told you about this Washington, but there are others also. For example, Napoleon. Napoleon is despised now, but Hegel praised Napoleon like anything. Friedrich Nietzsche praised Napoleon like anything. He had a personality, and you should know him. This 5 feet 36-inch man was an agent, a broker, and from there he became the monarch of France. Not a joke. So naturally, and as far as the philosophers are concerned, Marx, Hegel, even this Friedrich Nietzsche, even Bertrand Russell, from the books, not their original books, from the secondary books, Freud, even this Mead, these people, these are, for example, Hayek, the economist. You should know something about the Hayek is a very important person, although a capitalist par excellence. Even this Francis Fukuyama, something about this, because you are an UPSC aspirant. You say, are we donkeys? We should carry everything. You have chosen out of your sweet will to appear in this examination. Nobody has forced you, and if somebody has forced you, leave this thing leave this bugger to others. And but when you have come for the dancing stage, you have to have that guru with you. You cannot avoid that. So naturally, nothing much difficult. You people can read my experiments with truth. I think it would take, at best, if you read it for 3 hours a day, 2 days. My Gandhi's, my experience with truth, very good reading, although that was written earlier in Gujarati for a daily journal, and it came in different pieces and later on collected and translated. But that's a good thing. Gandhi, you may not like the Gandhi. Our present rulers do not like, do not want Gandhi. But Gandhi was really an excellent person, a crank that way, on his own admission. He said, I am a crank. So, even if he was a crank, he had the courage of the character. Again, that Napoleon thing, 5 feet 6 inches, a lean, thin man, a poor speaker, and a poor expert or knowledge. He was not a statesman. He did not know the history of India. He did not know the history of the Western countries. But then, the man who could empathize with people of India and any people he wanted. Thank you very much.
Sir, you said all these thinkers, sir. Which book we need to go for?
No, actually, there, for example, there is a book by, band kar diya, there is a book by